I made you main presenter too, Jeff, by the way.
All right, great. Sounds good.
Can
everybody hear me?
Yeah, everyone hears you. I think that and a nickel does nothing, but I'm not sure. I think
I'm not sure.
We use this Hangout stuff so much, Jeff. I don't know what we do without it.
How is everybody?
Great.
Good.
Great. All right.
What?
So where in the world actually are you? Where is this place?
We're at Case Western Reserve. We're near Cleveland, Ohio. And you're still
straight down 77, down in Athens.
Okay. Now, are you there permanently now, or?
No, not really. I'm happily unemployed right now.
Okay.
My job as a faculty member just finished, and I'm spending next year finishing my PhD. So.
Because I know when we first got started, I think were you a grad student?
Yeah, still am.
Okay.
Someday I'll be finished.
Oh, don't hurry. Growing up is way overrated, brother.
My wife, who's working next year and I'm not, doesn't have the same thoughts. She's like, hurry up. Should we get started? Is everybody in?
Sure, I think whatever crowd we have we'll be in.
All right, cool. All right, let's get going. Hi again, everybody.
Hi.
I got one hi. Uh-oh, tough crowd. Hey, there you go. So as Jeff mentioned, I'm Jeff, and I'm down at Ohio University, and somehow I managed to spin my love of video games into an actual job, much to the disbelief of my mother and dad. But so I've been working with Minecraft for quite a while. I've actually been playing it since before it was officially released, and I've been working with teachers of all kind of sorts and working through Minecraft. And I just had a quick question: how many people actually play Minecraft or have worked with it before? All right. What have you done with it? Oh, wow. Okay, a lot of hands. What kind of things have you done with Minecraft?
I mostly encourage my daughter to play something else.
Does she disagree with you?
Yeah. Once you just gotta set these time limits, to what it does. And of course, the schools weren't doing it for educational purposes, so it's like, how do you integrate those two? So I'm a happy camper as a father, kind of saying, okay, cool, you're applying it by doing this, and so like all that creativity just isn't just for doing gaming, but it's something else.
They're a little off topic. There's a game called Kerbal Space Program, and in Kerbal Space Program, you launch rockets into space, and you have to actually deal with real-world physics. You have to deal with thrust and mass and trajectory. And one of my colleagues, her son had been playing it for quite a bit, and he was having difficulty getting a rocket into space. And he comes home one night, and he's telling his mom, he says, Mom, I figured out how to get my rocket into space. And she's like, what do you mean? He goes, I was working on my fractions worksheet in class, and I got to thinking about my rocket, and I can get it into space. And she says, great. How? And he explains it to her, and he goes into the game, and he gets his rocket into space, and he's super excited. And his mom says, well, what about your worksheet? And he's like, oh, I didn't finish it. I was thinking about my rocket. You know, and that was kind of one of the difficulties with some of these games, and what has made Minecraft so popular is that the kids will spend a lot of time figuring things out inside of Minecraft, but maybe not show the same activity inside the classroom. And so that's where kind of going what you're saying, how do we take that creativity and foster it for educational purposes? But let me do a little PowerPoint. There's always a PowerPoint in these sorts of things. So I'm going to bring up a quick little presentation to talk a little bit about Minecraft. And feel free to shout out if there's something that you want to add or comment on. Just let me know. And so, with Minecraft, has anyone used it in their classroom yet?
I have a after-school club that I run.
What kind of things do you do?
Well, right now it was all introductory this year, and I actually had 7th grade girls who actually helped coordinate. We did just a lot of creating this year. We didn't do any lessons. They came with what they knew, and my 7th grade girls came with what they knew, and we did it before they switched over to the Microsoft for education.
Gotcha.
So we were doing the EDU version, and we had our own server. So it was just a lot of test runs this year to see how it worked. Next year, what we're going to do is actually build lessons each week to do with the kids to teach them something new with the program. But it's, they're coming for the fun of it to be able to play with their friends, and their parents are sending them because they know they're safe on the school network, on the school server, and they don't have all these strangers that they're playing with. So
what'd you think so far?
Well, the kids loved it. I need to learn how to play so that I can be more involved. So that was what I learned, was that I need to know what I can do as the educator to be more involved. I have 7th grade girls. Actually, one of the girls that helped me built her own Minecraft server at home so that her little sister wasn't playing out into the world. So she helped me
Nice.
a ton to know the server end of it all. But I need to know how I can make it more of an educational club, but then also help my teachers who are interested in using it in the classroom also.
That's a lot of tough things.
Yes.
It is. One of the challenges with working with Minecraft is, for students, you never have to sort of justify it. Like kids will jump into some things if there's enough of a puzzle and enough of a kind of a creative approach to it. But kind of thinking about what you said about teachers, one of the big challenges with Minecraft is the teacher might say, well, what can it do? And the question really is what do you need it to do? Because it's really kind of flexible, and the way you can modify it and change it to fit your specific teaching context is really kind of key. So we'll cover a little bit of that, because right now Minecraft is in a strange place. As you were mentioning, the game was purchased by Microsoft, and there's been some big changes coming about because of that. And so we'll kind of get into that in a few minutes. But right now, one of the things with Minecraft is it's been sold 100 million times. There's 100 million copies out there in the world, and they're selling about 50,000 copies a day. It's a enormous game, and it's one of the most popular games ever created, and pretty well distributed across the planet. And looking at this little graph, you can see most people play the Pocket Edition or the Windows 10 edition, which is the brown pillar there. The original version, the PC or Java version, you see doesn't have as much market share anymore. That was the original version. And then some kids play it on consoles, Xbox and PlayStation 4. And it's important to know the difference between the PC or Java version and the Pocket or Windows 10 edition. And we'll come back to that because it really, really will make a difference in how you approach it in the classroom. But kind of get started, Minecraft is just Legos. That's the best way to think about it. You really just walk around in this very blocky sort of 8-bit style world, and you have two characters, either Alex or Steve. You can take your pick, and you find items. So for instance, you can walk up to a tree, and if you punch the tree, it'll give you wood, and then you can use that wood to make planks, and you can use that to make tools. So really simple idea of collecting material and building material. But where it becomes interesting is it's enormously complex in all of the things that you can build. So this is a graphical layout, kind of an old one too, of all the things that you can craft inside of the game. So if I gather some wood and some charcoal, or I'm sorry, wood and coal, I can make torches. If I take iron ore and I smelt it, I can use the iron bar to make a sword, all sorts of different things. And so it becomes really complex. And what kind of tricked teachers and educators tripped them up, was that the kids would spend a fantastic amount of time memorizing this sort of thing, and having this very kind of deep knowledge of the game. And so how do we leverage that for learning? How do we take their interest and kind of spin it off into education? Because when you think about the game as a whole, it's really kind of simple. You go in, you build stuff. So this is a very kind of rudimentary house that you might build on your first night to survive, because the way it works is at nighttime, monsters come out, and you have to protect yourself against the monsters. And that's in the survival world. So in survival, you have to gather all your resources, and they're very limited, and then you can make things based on the items you do have. The other version of the game that's also included, there's two types inside the game. There's the survival mode and there's the creative mode. In creative, you have infinite resources. So everything is at your disposal, and people can build some really kind of fantastic structures. And so, you might go in and start building much more sophisticated things when you have infinite supplies. And so, for example, this is a big kind of glass dome with a park inside, and kids can go in and start mapping these things out. And what's kind of interesting with Minecraft is, because it's based on these blocks, kids could take graphing paper and start sketching out shapes, and then translate that over to a 3D space. So dealing with math, figuring out how many blocks they might need to build something, figuring out, all the dimensions and that spatial, 3D manipulation of objects, which is kind of just the basic opportunities that Minecraft provides, and getting them to think about math or measurements or distance, things like that. But they can go from very simple to the very complex. And the big challenge with working with other teachers is getting them into the game. That's often been the hard part. Is it really does take a bit of a learning curve. We just got to sit down and play the game. Think about it too much, and you don't really know what to do with it, versus just going in and exploring and seeing what it can do. In the original version with Minecraft, you could purchase an account. So the game is actually free. You can download it for free, but what you're paying for is your username. So once you have your account active, you can log into any computer that has Minecraft, which is really kind of nice. So if the kids had a Minecraft account at home, they could come in and log in on the computer at school and play their account. So, you might have a work computer or a home computer and a laptop, all of which can have Minecraft, and you could play on any of those devices. So that's a nice feature that makes it very flexible for both teachers and students. The big issue right now with Minecraft is about 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, Microsoft bought Minecraft for $2.5 billion. And they did this for a couple of reasons. They did see the potential of the game in really kind of keeping people tuned into Windows, and they thought it was a killer app that they should have. Also, they got to see the educational potential of it, and this is Microsoft's attempt to fight back against Chromebooks. They thought if they had Minecraft in their pocket, they could sway schools from going into Chromebooks. So if your school is a Chromebook school, Minecraft doesn't work with Chromebooks. This is one of the biggest drawbacks, because right now there are 3 versions of the game. So the original version, the Java version, which is it's available on PC and Mac, and you'll often hear it referred to as vanilla Minecraft. It's the regular version of the game, and it's $26.95 per license. But what's nice about the original PC version is it has a tremendous infrastructure in place of resources available online. So you can go on to, for instance, the website Planet Minecraft and download maps of all sorts of places. You can find ancient Rome, you can find New York City, you can find Hunger Games maps, Lord of the Rings maps that you could use in the classroom. There's things like Jamestown is available, castles, Windsor Castle in England. And it also has modifications. So with the PC version, the original version, people started making little software packets that would change the game. You know, for example, Google released one called QCraft that helps visualize real-world physics inside the game. So it actually changed the game of Minecraft and made it a little bit different. One of my favorite mods is there's a great map called World of Humanities that a teacher named Eric Walker created. And inside the game, the non-playable characters you can talk to them. And so he had these little conversations set up. So his students were learning, you know, history and geography and social studies, and they could go to ancient Rome, and Julius Caesar would be there, and he would say, you know, hey, I think my friends are out to get me. Why don't you go find out what they're up to? And then you'd have to go find Brutus, and you talk to Brutus and find out what's going on. So you can create almost completely new games using the old modifications. Now, that sort of took a break when Microsoft purchased Minecraft, because they moved it from a Java-based programming to C++. And the reason that's important is because all the old modifications that people made before won't work anymore. Now, if you're running tablets, you know, a lot of kids and schools are perhaps running Minecraft on iPads or tablets, and they have the Pocket Edition of the game. And the Pocket Edition and the Windows 10 edition of the game are the same, which now means there's cross-device play. You know, originally they were siloed ecosystems where computer people could play together, tablet people could play in local area networks, and now they're moving completely over to this Windows 10 version. But it means a lot of the really cool infrastructure that we used to have for Minecraft no longer works. Now, as part of that move to Windows 10, they've created the Minecraft Education Edition. And, you know, there used to be Minecraft EDU, which a lot of teachers really enjoyed. And what it did was it created modifications for the game that gave the teachers more flexibility and more control. Teachers could assign homework in the game. They could pause the students. They could move the students around as they needed. And a lot of that's going to be available in Minecraft Education Edition, because Minecraft EDU, which was created by Joel Levin, was purchased by Microsoft and turned into Minecraft Education Edition. And it's based on the Pocket Edition. And that one is going to be $5 per year if your school has an Office 365 education account. And so every student can get an account, and then they can play. The only problem is all the mods are not going to be available, and it doesn't work on Chromebooks. So thinking about that for your classroom or, you know, after school club needs, how many of you have a Chromebook school?
Most everybody. Everybody.
Most everybody? Oh, I asked a question. I can't see anybody's hands. I forgot I'm in presentation mode. And so that becomes the big challenge. And, you know, honestly, at this point, if Minecraft isn't really a pressing issue, it might be best to wait at least 3 or 4 months until things kind of calm down. The Minecraft Education Edition is in beta right now, and it's out to certain teachers and certain schools to kind of test it out. It'll be available this coming year, and it's going to come with a lot more infrastructure. You know, they're relying on teachers to create lesson plans, create maps, create materials that then can be shared with other teachers around the world. But right now that infrastructure is not in place. And so we're in this weird moment where we're leaving one world, the old Java world, and moving into the C++ world. And there's a bit of wait and see right now. Like I mentioned, you know, the game. Oh, sorry, question?
Yeah, you said that they're going away from Java. I still have the Java version and it's still being updated, or is it just they're moving away from it for education?
Yeah, for the Education Edition, they're moving away. And even like the Windows 10 version is C++. The Java version it's going to stay around for a long time. I assume they're going to keep supporting it just because the user base is enormous.
Sure.
They're just trying to make it simpler to program for further down the road. So the Java version will stay around. It's just they're kind of creating a second version as well. And you can kind of think of it as the Java version is Mojang, or the company that created Minecraft.
Sure.
It's their version, and then the C++ version is like Microsoft's version. So it can better integrate into their ecosystem. But no, it'll be around for a while. Other questions? No? Right. Well, as I was saying, in the game, it's really simple. You go in, you build stuff, but outside of that, and where it really kind of becomes interesting for learning opportunities is the scale and sophistication that these builds can undertake. So, you might go in your first night and build something like this little hut, but then there are people inside of the game who are building, this is Minas Tirith from Lord of the Rings, and, people are going in and creating these communities and building these giant, massive structures inside of the game. One of my favorites is there's a server called MC Westeros, where a group has decided to recreate the entire world of Game of Thrones from the books. They're not doing the TV show, but they're only the books. And so they're actually calculating out the distances based on what's said in the books. And if you want to join that group, you have to submit an application. And if they think you're good enough, they'll let you help them build. So it's, kind of a really sophisticated project that people are able to do. As I mentioned before, the Hunger Games has been a really kind of popular map that people have built. They've built their own little Hunger Games challenge maps. I've seen, cities of, like entire neighborhoods of Paris that people have built. They wanted to recreate a certain area of a certain city. Another one of my favorite examples is Oakland, California was recreated in Minecraft, where their local science museum challenged the internet to recreate the city of Oakland with the rule that if you participate, you can have never visited Oakland. So people had to go online and use, Google Maps to look at the city, look at images, specific buildings, and try to recreate that city as best they could. So there's a lot of complex thinking and problem solving and, digging up research and things inside of Minecraft that's makes it really kind of fascinating for teachers and for education. Another great example is this is Havana, Cuba, during the age of piracy, like 17th century Havana, Cuba. That was in a different video game, but players decided they wanted to recreate it in Minecraft, and so they would go into one game, take screenshots, and measure out distances and try to build that inside of Minecraft. And so it really is, like I said before, like Legos. People just build things that they see, they think are interesting, or whatever they can kind of come up with in their imagination. One of the kind of fun parts, if you're a teacher of STEM or doing any sort of computer classes, is inside of Minecraft there's an item called redstone, and it really just works as either it's on or it's off. So it carries a little electric current. Well, very early on, some of the participants figured out that, well, if it's on, that's a 1. If it's off, that's a 0. Based on that logic, they should be able to build a computer inside of Minecraft. And sure enough, people have. This is a working calculator inside of the game. People have made actual algorithmic logic units, or a computer chip that can do basic math and run basic programs. And this is all kind of figured out inside of the community, because the game never says, hey, you can do this. It just is a big sandbox and people can build as they see fit. So people are building computers in it, working clocks, based on kind of very simple computer logic. And so you have these tremendous opportunities to build these really kind of sophisticated things. One other aspect about Minecraft to kind of consider is it's not just a game, but a community. And when we think about video games right now, they're becoming the 5th major literacy. So we have books, we have movies, we have music, television, and now we have video games, where the kids are coming in very literate in video games. And that's sort of the challenge right now in working with teachers is the difference between having video games be a very, very important part of your day-to-day life versus not. And this is a website called Twitch, and twitch.tv. And the way it works is I can go online and I can create a channel, and I can watch people play video games, or they can watch me. And so you might have kids who just get online and watch other people play video games like we would watch a sports event. To the extent that this environment, this online streaming environment, has created celebrities. One of the best examples is Captain Sparkles, who he streams his Minecraft playing on YouTube, to the extent he was able to buy a $4.5 million mansion in Beverly Hills off of his Minecraft YouTube money. So there's a tremendous community there where it has celebrities, it has communities of practice where the kids are getting online and engaging with other groups that we may not even be aware of as adults. One of my favorite examples is PewDiePie. Has anyone ever heard of PewDiePie?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He's just ridiculous. I don't.
Exactly. He's ridiculous to the tune of $7 million a year, and 7 billion YouTube views. And like, I don't understand why he's popular, but he is. And a lot of what he do is centered around games, and Minecraft is one of those. So we have kids who are aware of these folks, but we're not, which is interesting. And so, it's kind of thinking about there's a whole lot to go on with Minecraft. And there's a lot of different approaches. And one of the books I really recommend is by Sean Dickers called Teachercraft. And you can get it for free. The electronic version you can get for free at press.etc.cmu.edu. And it highlights teachers and how those teachers came across using Minecraft and the way they use it in their classroom. And a lot of times it came off of, they knew the kids were interested and they wanted to leverage that. And you'll see kind of three approaches that teachers will use in Minecraft. There are some who are purely constructivist, where they throw the kids inside of Minecraft and they say, make something, just be creative, and we'll derive the learning from that. There are others who kind of on the opposite end are much more sort of behaviorist, and they do more like museum tours inside of Minecraft, where they'll build something very specific, like, the Notre Dame Cathedral, and the kids go in and do like a tour, like they're walking through a museum, and they look at something and maybe they'll ask or answer specific questions about it. And then there are teachers in the middle who will do more of like a problem-based or project-based approach, where they'll create a little environment, throw the kids in, and give them a challenge. One example that I really like is a history teacher built a little environment, and it was like Jamestown. So the kids were on a ship, and they have to get off the ship and go onto land and build a little village and start surviving in this new world. So they basically, recreated Jonestown, and then read about it. Or Jamestown, I'm sorry. Jamestown, and then they would read about Jamestown in their books and, watch some videos, and they would see how their little world and the real version of Jamestown differed, or were similar. And so there's a lot of different approaches that you can take with Minecraft, and it really depends on what it is that you want to do in your classroom. So I'll jump out of this real quick and go back. in. Questions so far? Oh, everybody's good. It is really kind of a tricky thing to talk about when, if you have something kind of specific that you want to do in Minecraft, the best way to think about it is how do you get the teachers to buy in, or how do you get the kids to buy in? And I found one of the best ways is just kind of go in and play. I've got a little server here set up. I'll show you this is a server I run for teachers to kind of go in and play around with. These are mostly language teachers, and originally they came into this server to kind of very much learn about Minecraft. They weren't interested in playing it. They just wanted to know why it was popular. And we brought the teachers in, and it was a very empty environment. It was just the basic game. We said, all right, start playing. And the teachers ended up building this entire community. So if I come out here, I'll show you all of this was built by our teachers who had zero Minecraft experience. You can see there's a little pressure plate here. I can open up things are automated. There's a little farm, farmhouse with cows. a factory farm, but you know, also kind of the interesting thing, like with the animals, you can raise animals, you know, use them for milk or for leather. There are sheep in the game, and something that people didn't find out until fairly late in the game is that the sheep, they have Mendeleev genetics. So if you take two sheep of two different colors and you breed them, the dominant or recessive genes between those sheep are going to dictate which color the offspring is. And so there's even little ways you can kind of teach biology and basic genetic stuff and give the students a chance to experience something versus just sort of learn about it or read about it. And so, you know, that's kind of one of the really interesting parts with Minecraft and getting students involved is how can you give them an experiential based learning opportunity versus just, you know, a more of a passive approach to it. I'll show you here. I'm going to go into our subway system. I mentioned redstone earlier, and people were building computer chips and everything, but you can also just go in and build like very basic stuff. So this is a subway that runs all throughout our world, and these little red parts make it electric, so you can shoot through the world and go from house to house. And again, this was built by teachers with very little experience. They just sort of learned by doing and developed up this entire world. You can see people up notes, so they've helped each other out and they make it a lot easier on one another. All right, I have to go indoors because at night monsters come out. So if I am outside at night, there will be trouble. And so if you've never played Minecraft, this really is all there is to it. You can go into the game and you can create items. So all these different items are things I have in my inventory. And then I can use those items to do things. So I've got my pickaxe here, and I can just dig up items and I collect those. So the more items I collect, the more I can make things. So for example, you know, I can take a stick and coal, and that'll make a torch, and I can use those torches and just stick them up on the wall so I can light my way around. And you can see this goes well into the earth, so you can dig deep into the earth, and there's different resources at different levels. I can find iron and copper and gold. It's very easy to get lost down in these spaces. And you see it's a pretty enormous space. And someone dug all this out by hand. Somebody just came in and started digging and digging and digging and developed up these ideas. And so I'm going to jump out of this. And something else kind of, you know, what we've worked on, you know, if you have teachers who are comfortable with the game but want to learn more, giving them a place to actually engage with the material is really important. And so one of the things that I'm doing with teachers is we have a Google Plus community where they can post things about Minecraft because they may not know the game, but they know good teaching. And so they're seeing, you know, articles out there that might help people, ways to develop ideas. And so kind of creating a community of practice with teachers, because that's been often the difficult part is not knowing who to turn to. So you have questions about the game, but you don't quite know who to ask. And so having these spaces available is also kind of important because the kids, we've learned the kids will just buy in. The kids will just do it. It's a matter of kind of getting the teachers to buy in a little bit. Any questions so far? It's a quiet group today. So for those of you who have used Minecraft, what kind of activities have you done inside of the game?
I've not used it personally. My kids play it, but when I was teaching 7th grade science, they had to construct a project to show potential and kinetic energy changes, and so I just kind of run with that because they knew how to make a roller coaster, and so they had the choice of actually making a physical roller coaster or one on like a virtual one. Like some of them chose Minecraft. So
It's sort of the shoebox diorama of today. or that's where kids want to show things off. And I like that idea, you know, and one of the things to think about with Minecraft is you don't actually have to know much about it. If you know how to set it up and run it, and the kids will take care of the rest. Like they'll know how to build things, and then there's this kind of cool opportunity where they get to start teaching you. And, you know, so you might not know how redstone works, but as they're building their kinetic energy activity, you know, they can tell you a little bit about redstone, and then you get to inform them about, well, what does that mean in real world science?
Yeah, they were able to make, just remembering back, it's been a few years since I taught it, but they were able to make like a dam and a hydro, you know, like a energy plant, and show me what, you know, what an aquifer is and groundwater, and he did all sorts of stuff with it. So.
Huh. And really kind of, you know, thinking about using Minecraft in the class, it's what we do with before and after that really kind of presents the real nice learning opportunities of, you know, okay, so now they can identify all these things and how they function. So they're able to take these theoretical ideas they learn in class and add, you know, practical applications of those. Well, you know what a hydroelectric dam is. Can you build one and make it work successfully? And it's that sort of problem-based approach where Minecraft is really successful. If you can give them, you know, a problem and let them solve it, and that's probably the best definition of a game is, they say, well-defined constraints and ill-defined solutions. You know, one of my favorite examples of a Minecraft activity for beginning teachers who are using Minecraft, I worked with some teachers in Indiana, and one teacher just basically put a price on every item in the game. You know, every block had a price, and all the students had a budget, and they had to build a specific building within budget. You know, so they had to think ahead of time. You know, they had to blueprint it out on paper, you know, figure out their costs, and then build it in the game. You know, another great example that I saw there is teachers would recreate the school, and so they paired up the students in groups of 3, and they would have to go out in the hallways and measure the actual length of the hallway, you know, measure the length, measure the height, measure the width, and then build the school to scale inside of Minecraft. And again, so they're taking measurements inside of the school and then converting them over, because in Minecraft, one block is about 3 meters in length. So that's kind of the you know, the rough cut of the game. And so figuring out the right distances and sizes and shapes gets them a chance to kind of operate in those spaces. Anyone else use it?
My son plays the Pocket Edition on his Kindle, and I understand the value of it in schools. I just don't know how to set it up or maintain it, like that end of it. So I don't even know where you would begin, I guess.
Good point. That's always kind of the tough part. And I'll show you a little bit here. I'll dig into the game just a minute here. And if I go into my Minecraft world again, so I'll X out. So when you get to the main screen, you know, one of the nice things about Minecraft is it does auto update. And so once you have it installed, you know, it'll sort of maintain itself and updating and applying everything that needs to be done. But when you go in the game, for instance, if you create, you know, a multiplayer, it's a server setup that, you know, once everyone has the address. So if I go into my server and click edit, so all my players need is this server address, and, you know, they can type that in, and that'll allow them to join that. If you're running a PC version, like if you're running the Java version, and you're doing that on a Windows computer, the server system is really easy. A couple of clicks and it's up and running. All you need to know is your internet address. And that book I mentioned, Teachercraft, it has all this kind of highlighted out step by step. I got to write that chapter, so, you know, I know it's in there. And then once you have this set up, you can go in, and as an administrator of the server, they have a whitelist. And so all of your students have usernames, and you can add those usernames to your list, and that'll allow only those usernames into the game. So you can kind of keep it, you know, blocked. You know, same things like the girl setting it up for her little sister to play on. You can do that same thing, so your class has their own server. And then also, when you go into the game, for instance, I'm actually going to dig into the guts of my Minecraft. Can everybody see this? Does everybody see a file folder?
No.
No? Okay. I wasn't sure if it was sharing or not. Let me do this. And so when I go into, like if we look at behind the scenes, getting a little lag. Can everybody see?
You see the file folder. That's it.
See a file folder. That's what a Minecraft server looks like. So in the background, it really is just files that are saved. And it's a really kind of simple setup where you can go in and make small changes. And all those different files are maps. And so, I can have 20, 30 maps, however many I want inside of the game. And then when, I'm teaching one class, I can run a certain map. And then after class, close that down, open up a separate map for a separate class. And so it's really quite flexible. If you can drag and drop files, you can pretty much manipulate a Minecraft server. Again, it just takes a little bit of practice. But again, that's where the online infrastructure, there's a lot of great resources. If you go to the Minecraft wiki, it shows you a lot with running a server. And so the interface is fairly simple, all things considered. If you're looking to develop out materials. But the server side of it can be kind of complex if you have never done anything like that before. And one of the nice parts, and I've heard this from a lot of teachers who teach STEM materials, or if they're teaching computer code, is that students will often have set up their own servers before, and so they're kind of willing to help out. And one great example is Massively Minecraft down in Tasmania, Australia. They started out with the teachers running the server, but as the first generation of students played through Minecraft and got, really kind of versed at it, they were allowed the privileges of running the server. And so you had the kids not only learning inside of the game, but they could actually learn coding and server maintenance by taking care of it on the outside of the game as well. So there's a lot of cool opportunities there too, where students can start to take charge of the server, set rules and constraints on the server, and learn a lot about computer coding like that. There's one version of Minecraft called Minecraft. It's the PI edition. There's a little like credit card sized computer called the Raspberry Pi. It's about $35 that you can set up and run. And it comes with a free version of Minecraft where the game of Minecraft will be open, and then next to it is a command console, and you can actually start changing the code of the game in real time. And so as you change the code over here, the game reflects that. And so it's a way of getting the kids to learn how to do basic computer code. Or websites like Hour of Code have versions of their Hour of Code where they'll teach kids to code inside of Minecraft. And so it's also an opportunity to kind of use their enthusiasm for Minecraft to get them to try new things and interact with new tools that they may not have tried before. Any comments or questions so far? Is anybody absolutely terrified of Minecraft? Everybody's not overwhelmed. Yeah, it's it does. One of the kind of the big challenges with it is it gives you no instructions. It really just kind of throws you into their environment and just says go. So there's a lot of kind of figuring it out as you go. That can be kind of intimidating if you don't play a lot of video games.
I think finding the time to just play, like have time to just investigate and play around and get in there is my biggest challenge. And I have to be honest and say that myself. Like I see my kids using it and building things, and the three of them are on their iPads, like interacting with each other in Minecraft, and that's cool. And I thought, oh yeah, that's really neat and stuff. But then I don't really have a huge desire to like jump in and want to play in that way too. So.
Right.
Yeah, you know, if you really want to learn the game, you got to at least give it like 6 to 8 hours. You know, just invest that kind of time in learning to kind of learn the ropes of it, which can be kind of a big investment. And has anyone else tried like after school clubs or informal activities using Minecraft?
That's what I was saying that I do.
Yeah. What else have you done with it?
We don't use it in the classroom at all right now. It's just after school. We're a Chromebook school, but we have a cart of laptops in my lab, PC based, so that's how I can do it.
And what have the kids done with it? Have they done anything that really kind of caught you off guard?
Not. I mean, the team effort amongst the grades has been really neat to watch. Of them, you know, protecting each other's creations and things like that has been really big. It was a lot of team building and getting them to understand that they couldn't just go and implode somebody's house because they wanted to have fun, you know? I mean, those types of things. So you have to be careful. So it was a lot of team building and working together and seeing little second graders who are, you know, working with fifth graders to try to make this happen. I mean, I had 60 kids sign up for it the first year, so it was a lot to manage to try to teach and explore, because I just had to keep them being respectful to each other, because we're a Catholic school, so we had to bring the whole values into that, and you know how we have to, you know, be respectful of God's creations and those types of things. And so it was a lot of learning curves for me, but also just a lot of team building for them. Just watching them work together was really neat, and you know, giving them the opportunity to be able to fly so that they could see what everybody else was doing without actually having to go to it and destroy it, but just be over top and watch. You know, that was really neat to watch them want to do that. But next year, like I said, we're going to try to have goals every week where we try to achieve something together in the game, and then they can have free time. So
nice. Yeah, the 21st century skills have been, you know, one of those kind of nice entries into Minecraft. If you're thinking how to use it, getting the kids to work together, not destroy one another's creations, you know, or having the kids, you know, put a server together and then have them create like a charter or a set of rules or a constitution, and getting them to think about what are the behaviors we want to see represented on the server versus just going in and it's bedlam.
They created their own rules at the beginning. That was one of the things, like I said, think about, you know, your Minecraft world that you play at home. You know, how would you want it treated when you're playing with everybody? You know, because when you get 30 kids playing at one time, it can be very sketchy. So they created the rules at the beginning of the year, and then we made sure that the server was set up so that they didn't have certain abilities within the game.
And that's, you know, again, one of the things with Minecraft is it's really hard to kind of give concrete advice on how to use it, or to say, you know, here's how you can use it as a teaching tool, because it is so flexible where, you know, if you don't want students to do certain things, you can go into the server and disable those things. You can modify the game so it's very constrained or it's wide open, depending on what you really want students to do. And so it becomes quite a nice play space if you can, again, devote the time to sort of mastering those tools. Now, as far as you know, concrete activities, you know, I mentioned a few earlier, but you know, I've seen some really cool bits of material where teachers have used Minecraft as a presentation tool. So kids, you know, they're tasked with, you know, writing a little report about the Acropolis or something. So an example that I saw from some students in Indiana was they were supposed to write about the Acropolis, and they asked the teacher, they said, hey, can we build it in Minecraft as well? So they had their written report, but then they also had their Minecraft creation, and the teacher commented on, you know, she said the amount of work that they put in, because they're allowed to do it in Minecraft, far out exceeded what they normally do, because they wanted to make it accurate, because they had, you know, this opportunity to build, and they really wanted to show what they could do. So thinking about, you know, how could it be a presentation space for the kids? You know, because you can always do screenshots, you know, so they can go in and create a little world and make screenshots to bring into the game or bring into the classroom. You know, another example is what they call machinima. and that's where you create movies inside of video game environments. So for example, the kids might have to write a script and decide who the characters are going to be, who's going to voice them, and then actually film inside of Minecraft, and then afterwards edit that video using video editing software. And so it's not just a matter of what they can do in the game, but what are the ancillary tools and activities they can do in learning, like I said, writing, so they do script writing, video editing, managing material online. So there's a lot of different activities they can do there as well.
What did you call that program you used?
Machinima, yeah. Machinima, yeah. If you kind of Google it based on its sound, it usually auto corrects me. I can never spell it for my life, and there's a whole host of different video games and websites. Like if you go to YouTube and put in Machinima, there's a ton of material there. The Sims is another popular one for Machinima. Any final questions or comments, suggestions? Any good resources anyone has?
We're winding down here, Jeff.
All right.
End of the day.
Yeah, I hear that. But I guess the big takeaway for right now is, if you're not using Minecraft yet, it might be good to wait just a little bit and see how this Microsoft part settles down. So as they're moving from the old Java version to the Windows 10 version, those are separate. And then in the Windows 10 and the Education Edition are two variants of the same type. And thinking about what's the best fit for your classroom. And also if you're using Chromebooks, how can a Chromebook school accommodate Minecraft? Because as I mentioned, Microsoft's purchase of Minecraft was partly fueled as a way to strike back against Chromebooks. So they're not going to play nice anytime soon. And so figuring out how to balance that as well. But thanks for attending, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Jeff. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much for contributing.
No problem. I had fun. So any questions, feel free to email me, and I'll try my best to help answer any specific things if you have them.
Yeah, Jeff, what I did was I created a resource page for all of our presenters.
Oh,
so I've got a Minecraft page, and I'll put your contact information, and I'll drop a couple of these videos in there, and then we'll be great.
Sounds good. Okay.
Hey, thanks,
Talk to you later.
Jeff.
Bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.